I got the phone call from Baggsy saying, bring your MIG, bring your TIG, let's get creative.
I try and keep them at the workshop as much as possible.
I love upsetting people.
We knew the internet was going to hang us for it.
My name's Baggsy. I'm a pro drifter and the guy behind SB Motorsport. Over the years, we've built some amazing creations, like the V8 GTR and our PS13 comp car. We bring the smoke and smiles to events all around the world, with a few viral sensations along the way. But now it's time for a world's first. We're putting GTR life and soul into a Navara truck. But I'm not doing this alone. I've got a great team to help me. And some of the best partners in the industry. So buckle up, it's gonna be a hell of a ride. And even I don't know how it's gonna turn out.
I just drive the car.
Welcome to Project Navara-R.
The SB Motorsport team first breathed life into the Navara-R project in 2020.
Hurry up, mate, there's not much camera tape left in this camera, for f***'s sake. Hang on all night.
But this journey actually began almost 4 years ago.
I always try and work a little bit ahead, believe it or not. There is a little bit of calculation in what I do sometimes.
Yeah, right. Well, it was either that or the fact the engine wasn't playing ball in the GTR build.
We didn't necessarily set out to not use the VR engine in the GTR. We wanted to kind of use the engine that came with it originally, but it quite quickly became apparent that we wasn't going to be able to. You know, we wasn't able to get hold of some of the necessary parts that we needed to find the power that we wanted in the GTR, but we could do it with a platform that we was fairly comfortable with, which was, you know, a V8 engine with a big turbo on it. We knew that maths. We knew how that would work out.
It seems planning and quick maths gets you a V8 powered GTR, but add in a thirst for breaking all the rules, subtract the care for what anyone else thinks, equals you might just get two amazing vehicles.
It's the first time in the world that anyone's ever put a V8, engine in a GTR chassis, as far as we know. And we knew the internet was going to hang us for it.
How dare you! I like projects that are really different. You know, I like things that are so absurd that most 9-to-5 people wouldn't even dream of building. So that already had my interest. And yeah, as soon as he said he was going to take it out, I knew it would upset a lot of people. And that interested me again even more because I love upsetting people. You know, I love upsetting the purists.
We wanted to turn it up and show the purists that, yes, okay, we've took apart your favourite car in the world, but we're actually putting it to good use in a different way.
People's reactions when they see the car, because of the Liberty Walk body kit and everything else, is straight away they're blown away because it's an amazing piece of kit. But you open the bonnet and then there's a V8 in there with a huge lorry turbo, their minds are blown.
Everyone loves that car. I don't really like that car so much anymore.
We were building, Europe's, probably best built GTR R35 drift car that's ever been built. We were building something that was going to be insane.
We knew that we didn't want to run the GTR engine, so we took it out.
And that led us to be left with a huge amount of equipment from the GTR. Engine, gearbox, differentials, wiring looms. There's a huge amount of stuff in that car that's all very valuable if you've got something that you can put it all into.
As soon as we stripped it, Baggsy was already talking about building another project with the engine and the gearbox and the running gear.
Baggsy in the back of his head always had an idea to do something with it.
We were in a position where we could do something really cool with it. And that was always my dream, to recycle what we didn't use in the GTR project in something else. And me being me, don't say no to anybody.
I didn't want to do it.
I was already like, yeah, let's build something cool with the heart and soul of a GTR.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe in the next couple of years we'll do something with the Navara engine.
So with the stage set, it was time to go shopping. It's no secret that the Navara was plucked from the mundane, in pretty banal surroundings, but reputable nonetheless.
Seems like a really nice truck, to be honest. Everything seems to be as it should be.
And a great tip for buying a second-hand vehicle, take a mate who knows what he's looking for.
Just making sure it was a decent base to start with, really making sure the chassis wasn't bent, making sure it hadn't been in a heavy accident, general stuff just to make sure we weren't starting off with something which wasn't great.
And as long as it starts up okay, you're on your way.
Now my chair looking like 2 checks. Type of money make me want to 2-step.
With the radio check approved, driving the Nissan off to its exciting new world, there's just one last important thing to check.
It doesn't even work now. No, it does work. Oh, it works down the bottom. There you go. That's just like airbag.
Hello, Baggsy.
Hey mate, how you doing?
I was at work at my workshop at the time, and yeah, I got the phone call from Baggsy saying,
Come on, you old. We're going on an adventure.
and yeah, I think we was all excited to start the project, you know, and see where it was going to go and how hard it was going to be.
Bring your tools, bring your MIG, bring your TIG. Let's get creative. Cut. Action. So I guess the question is, can we get the VR38 engine to fit in the Nissan Navara and keep the four-wheel drive system and put a roll cage in it and some bucket seats? We'll get a handbrake in as well so we can still get the back end to turn when I need it to.
A lot of trepidation, you know, you're getting a truck that Baggsy's just spent quite a lot of money buying that a lot of people would use as a normal truck, and then to know that you're going to strip it down and cut the chassis to bits.
If we can make it like, you know, 1,000+ horsepower, I mean, that would get me pretty excited. Just going on a track day with a load of supercars in my truck. Just for a laugh, I think it'd be really cool to just be able to tow the GTR behind. None of that even makes sense as to the Navara-R towing the V8 GTR.
We'd spoke about it before quite a lot, and we'd had a few meetings in the pub, and you know, we'd had a few beers, and things got out of control, and you know, ideas were floating around that were insane.
A bit crazy. It's like we built craziness and madness, stuff that people will be like, why would you do that? And I'd just be like, it's 'cause it's cool, goes really fast, sounds great. I guess now it's going to be seeing whether we can actually do it, which is the exciting part.
Excitement is one thing, but for SB Motorsport, the stakes are high.
How much it costs to build one of these, you know. You're not just talking of, you know, the running gear and all the parts, it's the man hours that go into it, you know. Putting me and Corbin on that truck for, you know, maybe a year is a big expense. Baggsy rolls in the truck, and the team straight away are like looking at the first kind of, you know, what we've got to work with, what our first impressions of the truck are, and no messing around really. I think for me and Corbin, we knew we had a lot of work ahead. Like, this was going to be a year-long project. We knew how big the VR38 was, so we kind of knew what we had to work with. The truck comes with an inline 4-cylinder, so we knew that the turrets and everything inside the engine bay were going to be quite narrow. You know, everything's quite compact on new cars. So to squeeze a V6 twin turbo in there, we didn't know how much room we had to play with. So in my mind, it was, is it even possible to put this engine in this engine bay? And once we opened the bonnet and realised how big and how much room we had, we quickly worked out that it was going to fit, but where and how, that was another question. No messing around really. I think for me and Corbin, we knew we had a lot of work ahead. Like, this was going to be a year-long project, so we didn't want to mess around with the easy stuff. So we wanted to get the truck stripped apart pretty quick and easy, and really look at the bare bones of a Nissan Navara.
But in all the excitement, Baggsy is determined the team don't get too hasty.
You know, I want it to be perfect. I want it to be everything we all want it to be. Yeah. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, anyone who's, I suppose, in charge of sort of project managing timelines and all that sort of stuff, you want to try and stick to, you know, some sort of plans so you can estimate maybe what the cost is going to be. Because, you know, at the end of the day, time is money, unfortunately. But at the same time, we're building something here that I think is going to be, going to be awesome. And I would rather spend the time now getting it right than building it fast and then running into loads of issues later. My role is a little bit more office-based.
How does Baggsy fit into all this, like on a day-to-day basis? He's helping out a lot, right?
No.
Baggsy is kind of useless with tools.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my job is communication and, sourcing parts.
He doesn't really do anything, to be honest, other than order us parts that we ask for.
Anything they need, we make sure we find or get.
And to be honest, most of the time he messes that up. So yeah, he's pretty useless, to be honest.
It's Baggsy, innit? Around with you don't know what he's doing. A bit like everything.
You need somebody behind them guys supporting them, online.
He's mumbling his way through.
He's always asking me to do different stuff, changing things.
And then working on things like technical, working with, suspension geometry. No, that's not right. Suspension.
I mean, I try and keep him at the workshop as much as possible because he's just a headache to me.
A bit of excitement, creating some content.
He just randomly turns up and then will want to be like he's been there for the whole thing. When he hasn't done anything or touched it, but wants to take all the glory for it.
Does that make it harder to work on, I guess?
He's such a So then it gets onto the more important bit, and that's removing the cab, which wasn't as hard. There's a few more things to obviously disconnect. You've got the intercooler, the radiator, some of the body panels, the front bumper and grille, all that has to come out. And then you've got some big electrical connections, fuel lines and brake lines, and then that's it really. The cab lifts off and gives you the rest of the chassis. So Corbin's just undoing all the body mount bolts at the moment because we are ready to lift the body off the chassis after undoing all the ancillaries. And the cab is held onto the chassis with 4 M10 bolts either side. Right, but if you want to get on the buttons, I reckon me and Corbin will go a side each and just watch it as it goes up, make sure everything's disconnected. Nice, yeah? Yeah. Ready, Corb? Go on in, mate, up you go. Nice. Well, hold on. It's going one way slowly. Nerve-wracking a little bit. This is it now. The big bit starts because we're going to have to strip this down to nothing. I look all good so far on my side. It's an expensive truck to go and buy, so to see some hooligans pulling it apart with some tools is quite daunting, really. Yeah, looking all good my side. Yeah, gear stick's free. It was kind of the last time we'd see it on its wheels for a long time, so it's like, let's take a moment and appreciate what we've got before we, start all the heartbreak and anguish and long days and head scratching. I'm going to say it was probably about 3 hours.
Yeah, we stripped it down pretty quick.
When we rolled the chassis off of the ramp, the exhaust was still warm from when Baggsy drove it back. So it was like no time at all. It was literally in, stripped, out, job done.
That's a phenomenal rate that happened.
I mean, not really. It's only about 6 or 8 bolts under there that hold the cab on. I mean, half that time they were drinking tea and talking about it.
Look how little the engine is.
The gearbox is over twice as long as the engine.
In all honesty, you think it's a lot of work, but...
Yeah, but that kind of reveals then a whole load of other work that needs to go on, because at this point then there's a whole exhaust system to strip off, there's a fuel tank, there's all the running gear, there's the engine, the gearbox, there's still a lot to the truck to remove at this point. We wanted everything in the truck to work as factory. Wipers, heated seats, stereo, the lot. So one thing that worried me and Corbin quite a lot was that if we would have to have a custom loom built that housed all of that and run the GTR engine was going to be super expensive. I mean, we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. When we stripped it, we realised quickly that the engine harness plugged in and that the rest of the truck kind of had its own wiring setup. So one thing that intrigued us a little bit was, did the rest of the truck work independently to the chassis? It's when the alarm goes off and you can't turn it off ever. Right, I'm going to click the earth. Ready? Put the headlights on, Core. No way, they still work. Savage. That's saved so much. That means that the automatic headlights. Every single thing worked, and it was a big moment because we knew we'd A, saved a lot of money, and B, saved a hell of a lot of time. It kind of all started to fall in place, and we knew at that point then that, you know, we'd struck gold. That's it, you know. That is a lifesaver. That's just saved a lot of work. That's not connected.
Well, with still so much more still to be removed from this already blank canvas, what's the vision for SB Motorsport's Navara-R?
In my mind, I wanted to put long travel shocks on it, a Curry rear axle, and have this thing like a Baggsy truck with a VR38 in it. But, you know, Baggsy had other ideas.
I mean, we wanted to build something that could be used on a day-to-day basis that still drove nice.
A nice drive. And for me, something that really sets a car off and draws your eye to it is when you've got perfect wheel to arch fitment and the truck or the car looks really low. I was really keen on getting the truck as low as possible, but Baggsy not so much.
Just so that we've got something that's still very usable, but can be thrown into different scenarios.
There was two roads we could go. We could either make the truck really motorsporty by making all the turrets out of tube and some sheet metal work, you know, adding loads of tube and gussets and, you know, flared holes that everyone loves to see. Or we could make it look like it was factory. And I think we've both not grown up, but maybe changed our mindsets a little bit. So with the Navara, we wanted to do something different. We wanted to make the truck look like Nissan had rolled this out of the factory. Hence why everything's been done with big heavy plate, quite a lot of agricultural MIG welding. Everything looks like Nissan made it.
We kind of wanted people, if they ever look underneath it, to be like, what have they actually done here? What have they modified? What have they changed to be able to make this work?
If we was to do it all in tube, we could have probably saved a good 2 months on the build because we could have done things a lot quicker, made it very motorsport, which is a quick, easy way to do it. But unfortunately, the way we've done it has been lengthy, a very lengthy time process. There's a lot of things on the GTR that we weren't happy with, where the car is so low, it didn't ride nice, the lower arm angles are all at a funny angle, so we kind of wanted to make the truck a little bit better.
If you can find builds out there and the first thing you see is some of the amazing fab work that's going into a project before it's even finished, you know this is worth following. You know this is going to be good because you can see the little stuff is amazing. So when it comes to the big stuff later on that wows everybody, that's when you really know that this build's awesome because they took the time and dedication to get the bits that no one's ever going to see, apart from everybody on the internet.
What kind of fuel economy is this thing going to?
Who knows? Not a lot. It's probably going to be more gallons per mile than it is miles per gallon.
I don't think it's going to be great, I'm going to be honest. No car that's generally got a lot of power is ever particularly good on fuel.
Okay, but are you putting a bigger tank in it, or is you just going to have to go to the petrol station a lot?
He's just going to have to go to the petrol station because we're actually putting a smaller fuel tank in it than it comes with originally.
And the tubs, because of the rear turrets, I guess, the tub's going to be smaller.
Yeah, there's not going to be as much room in the rear tub as there was originally.
So you're making it less practical, but more fun?
Yes, a lot more fun. A little bit less practical.
Are you going to personally drive this to its first MOT and see how that goes?
I've already told Baggsy that once the project's done, he can have the victory drive, but I'm definitely taking it for a weekend. I'm going to chuck the baby seat in the back and take the family out in it and just, you know, I think we all just want to have a drive of it, and I'm pretty sure, you know, Baggsy's pretty cool with stuff like that, so he'll let us all have a little weekend away in the truck, which is nice, you know.
Who wants a boring truck when they can have a 1,000 horsepower one?
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything.
Almost looks like it's made to be in there, doesn't it?
It will be in a few weeks' time.
So there's plenty of room at the back by looks of things. Well, we're gonna have more room at the back, aren't we? Because we can move the engine back a little bit.
Yeah, we'll move the engine back, and then I guess we'll change this, Corbin, right?
Yeah, I reckon.
Get rid of that, and then get rid of the standard bonnet catch. Put some aero catches on it.
Yeah.
Looks good.
That photo right there, right now, in there, like that, is money. Like that is. Like the closest anyone ever came to this before was a computer-generated image. Like somebody literally photoshopped all that together.
Well, we're really going to do it.
We are actually doing this. Just look how cool that looks sitting in there.
It looks like it's meant to be in there. It doesn't look out of place at all.
I don't understand why
Nissan
Nissan would never have even considered doing this. Like that would have just been the coolest pickup truck ever.
The outtakes are going to be fucking 10 times better than the actual video.
I'm again doing a job that you started.
You don't even know what it's for, do you?
No, I don't.
So Corbin's arse crack is hanging out at the moment. Mate, it's not pretty. You need to get some like lotion on there, some chamomile lotion or something. Oh mate, look at that.
Oh, what have you done?
Mate, if I break
you owe me 'em.
If I break them, it'll do you a favour.
You owe me a new pair for 32 years.
No, you ain't.
I have.
Are you dumb? I said don't take the weight of the truck.
Back once again, finishing his work.
Just break that clip.
Fine,
You can't, you won't break it, you're scared of Stephen. You're scared of him. Oh mate, that was going to whip you in the eye. If that would have come up and whipped you in the eye, I would have creased myself. Corbin FaceTimed me and he said we've massively overlooked part of the build.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what is boring? Waiting for you to do something.
I was scared.
They'll just go to war at each other and...
Shut up, mate!
I mean, maybe me and Ian should have a discussion about this.
To the point where you want to go outside and settle it like men.
You can't call anyone ginger because you are more orange than anyone else.
We can't work like this all the time because otherwise he's going to fucking expect us to do loads of work.
You've already gone red because you walked outside in the sun earlier.
Slow down a little bit. Otherwise we'll be fucking done next week.